I live in a palace. My papa is the king, a girl said in a giddy voice. Just a few more lies, just enough to keep the walls standing. A man whispered desperately. What if your father promised you a perfect world? What if he built you a palace of endless riches, with walls of gold and gardens of jewels? What if every single word he told you was a beautiful, glittering lie? And what if, one day, the palace demanded to be paid for? This is not a story about wealth. This is a story about a debt written in falsehoods. A tale of a love so misguided, it constructed a gilded hell, and a little girl who was about to learn that the most beautiful palaces have the deepest, darkest foundations. In a dusty, impoverished village on the edge of the Sahel, a man named Tahir raised his young daughter, Amira, alone. His wife had died in childbirth, and his world had shrunk to the light in his daughter's eyes. Amira was a bright, joyful child, but Tahir's heart broke daily. He was a poor farmer, his land was barren, and he could not give her the life she deserved. His flaw was a shameful, all-consuming pride. He could not bear to see pity in his daughter's eyes. He could not admit that he was a failure. His brother, Bashir, a practical man who owned a small donkey cart, tried to counsel him. Tahir, Amira is strong. She does not need fairy tales. She needs a father who is present, not a king who is pretend. Show her the beauty of an honest struggle. But Tahir would not listen. She will not live in this dirt. She is a princess, and I will make her see it. It began with small lies. That old, dry well? Oh, that is where the desert genies sleep, Amira. This cracked clay bowl? It was a gift from a traveling queen. Amira's eyes would widen with wonder. And Tahir felt like a man. A provider of magic. One day, after a particularly humiliating trip to the market where he couldn't afford a single piece of candy for her, he broke. He went to a forgotten part of the desert, to a canyon known as the Echoing Mouth, where it was said a spirit dwelled that could give form to fiction. He screamed his desperation into the stone. I would give anything for her to live in a palace. For her to never know this poverty. The wind stilled. The sand coalesced into a figure made of shimmering heat haze and shifting dust. It was the Sarawi, the spirit of mirages. I can weave the dreams you speak, it whispered, its voice the sound of sand scraping on stone. I will build a palace from your lies. Every untruth you tell your daughter will become a brick, a jewel, a silken curtain. She will live in splendor. And the price? Tahir asked, his voice trembling. The spirit's form twisted into a cruel smile. The palace is built on a foundation of debt. For every lie that builds it up, a piece of your daughter's reality will be taken away. First, her memory of this true, hard world. Then, her connections to other people. Finally, her very sense of self. She will become the princess of a hollow kingdom, and her soul will be the rent she pays to live there. Tahir, seeing only the vision of his daughter's happy face in a golden hall, made the deal. I accept. Tahir returned home. Amira, he called. Pack your things. A great sultan, hearing of your beauty and grace, has gifted us a palace. Amira laughed with delight. And as they walked to the edge of the village, the air shimmered. Where there was once barren desert, now stood a breathtaking palace of white marble and gold. It was the rhythm of joy. The initial, miraculous benefit. Inside, fountains flowed with sweet water. Trees heavy with fruit grew in indoor courtyards. Servants made of shimmering light attended their every need. Amira was in heaven. Tahir was a king. But the consequences began to creep in. A few days later, Bashir came to visit, to check on his brother and niece. He stood at the grand gates, bewildered. But when Tahir brought Amira to see him, she looked at her uncle with a polite, blank smile. "Who is this man, father?" she asked. Bashir's face fell. The lie of the Sultan had stolen her memory of her own uncle. Horrified, Tahir tried to stop. But the Sarawi's voice echoed in his mind. The palace must be maintained. One truth, and a stone will crumble. Two truths, and a tower will fall. Will you make your daughter homeless? He was trapped. He had to keep lying. He told her the servants were from a magical kingdom. She forgot the faces of her friends in the village. He told her the sun outside was too harsh for her royal skin. She forgot what the real sun felt like. She became more and more isolated, a beautiful bird in a gilded cage, her past and her connections to humanity being systematically erased to pay the mortgage on her paradise. The final horror struck when Tahir, looking at his daughter, told a small, reflexive lie. "You have your mother's eyes." Amira looked at him, and for a terrifying second, her own face seemed to blur and shift, the features softening into a vague, porcelain doll likeness. "My mother," she said, her voice empty. Was she a queen too? The lie had stolen the last, most sacred memory. And it was starting to steal her very face, molding her into a generic princess to fit the narrative. The palace was no longer just her home. It was digesting her. Driven by a terror greater than his pride, Tahir confessed everything to his brother Bashir. Bashir, though heartbroken, was resolute. "The foundation is lies, brother. The only way to break it is with a truth so powerful, it shatters the very cornerstone." Together, they devised a plan. Tahir went to Amira in her lavish chamber. She was staring at a wall of gems, her expression vacant. "Amira," Tahir said, his voice thick with tears. "I have lied to you." The palace trembled. A crack appeared in the marble floor. "The Sultan is not real. This palace is not a gift. I built it, with my lies." A chandelier fell, shattering into 1,000 shards of light. The walls groaned. Amira looked confused, then scared. I don't understand. Where are we?" "We are in the desert, my love. We are poor. I am a failed farmer. And your mother was a kind, strong woman who died bringing you into this world. She was not a queen. She was a person. And so are you." With this final, devastating truth, the foundation gave way. The palace of lies imploded. The marble turned to sand, the gold to dust, the silks to tattered rags. It didn't vanish, it collapsed in on itself in a roaring torrent of desert wind, reclaiming the falsehoods it was made from. When the dust settled, Tahir, Bashir, and Amira stood in the middle of the barren desert, the poor, dusty village visible in the distance. Amira was sobbing, clutching her head. The flood of returning memories, of poverty, of loss, of her real uncle, her real mother, was overwhelming and painful. She looked at her father, not with anger, but with a profound, heartbreaking pity. You thought I needed a palace, she whispered. I just needed you. They returned to the village. The palace was gone. The magic was gone. But the truth remained. It was hard and ugly and painful. Amira had to relearn her own life, a process filled with grief and confusion. Tahir became a quiet, humble man. He worked his poor land with his brother, no longer hiding from the sun. He had learned that the most beautiful thing you can build for your child is not a palace of lies, but a home on a foundation of truth, no matter how humble. So the next time you're tempted to shield someone you love from a harsh truth, ask yourself, am I building them a shelter? Or am I building a beautiful, breathtaking prison? What will happen when the walls finally come down? What do you think? Was Tahir a loving father destroyed by his own pride, or did he commit a form of spiritual murder with his good intentions? Let me know in the comments below. His story is a dark lesson for every parent, that the stories we tell our children become the world they live in, and a lie, no matter how beautiful, is a thief that steals pieces of their soul to pay for its existence. Don't forget to subscribe to Safari of Tales and hit the bell icon so you never miss another journey into the heart of moral darkness. Until next time, may your home be built on stone.